The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Let the listeners know a little bit about you, your background, and then we'll get into Large Business of the Year and things like that.
Okay, well, I started with Chick-fil-A when I was 16 years old. I grew up in Houston, and I worked at a mall there. It was the second Chick-fil-A in Houston at the Westwood Mall, which is now defunct. But I was just going to go work there to earn a little bit of money for a little trip I was taking with my Spanish club. And about 6 months into it, I had earned the money, but I had forgotten why I even came to work there. I was working with my friends. We were having so much fun, and we were learning, and I was making money, and I was making $2.90 an hour, and it was exciting and great. And I was doing things I'd never done before, so I was really loving it. And then I worked there for 2 years in high school, got the Chick-fil-A college scholarship, $1,000 scholarship they gave, and came up to SFA. And my original goal was to be a math teacher. And I took calculus my freshman year, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I like numbers, but I don't like those numbers. So anyway, I was just in limbo for about the next 2 years, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. But during all that time, whenever I'd go home for spring break, summer break, Christmas break, I would always go back to my Chick-fil-A and work there, and it was like home to me.
Yeah.
And I used to have this big poster of a Chick-fil-A sandwich in my dorm room on the wall that my boss had given me. You know, they were throwing out advertising materials and whatnot, and they let me take that. And my roommate one night said to me, I was struggling to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and she said, well, you love Chick-fil-A so much, why don't you get your own Chick-fil-A? And I guess I was just naive, and I didn't really think I could do that. But once she said it, I couldn't think about anything else.
I love that.
So the next morning, I called my boss back in the Westwood Mall, and I said, do you think I could get my own Chick-fil-A? And he said, well, I think you got a good chance. So slam, bam, thank you, ma'am. I went down and changed my major to business management. And from then on out, every class I took was like, how am I going to use this in my Chick-fil-A?
Oh, that's awesome.
And if I hadn't gotten on with Chick-fil-A, I'm not sure really what I would have done. But by the grace of God, I got on with Chick-fil-A. And so they put me in this thing they called the Career Development Program. It was for college graduates who had some Chick-fil-A experience. And they would train you to run a store, and then they'd send you all over the country operating stores without permanent Chick-fil-A operators. Maybe they were waiting for the operator to get out of training so he could, just filling in the gaps, So my first assignment I was sent to New Orleans to open up a little mall there. And I stayed there about 3 months. It was my first I had been a team leader at my little store, but this is the first time I'd led a whole team, And New Orleans had some very interesting characters.
Sure it did.
Mm-hmm. And I think they saw my naivety right through me. Anyway, I learned a lot. And then I think they said, where can we send her now? Because she had a rough time there in New Orleans. Let's send her to Lufkin. So they sent me to the Lufkin Mall because that operator was getting a store in Dallas, and I was to fill in for him. But little did they know that I had just gone to school right up the road, and that was the closest Chick-fil-A at the time. Uh-huh. And I didn't have a car in those days, but we made friends with cars, and we'd go to the Lufkin Mall, and I introduced all my friends to Chick-fil-A at the Lufkin Mall.
That's so funny.
And
it's meant to be.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, though, I had a little bit of a critical eye at that time, and I was just really thought they needed my services there. And for them to be sending me there, I don't really know how all that worked out, but it did. And I said, well, I would like to keep that store. And they said, well, you haven't even been there yet. I said, oh, yes, I have. And they need me there real bad. And so I had a lot of confidence, but not a lot of sense. And so then I went there January 1st of 1986, after I graduated in August of 85. And I set my sights on turning things around there. It was a store that the operator there, he had like a large family of like 5 or 6 kids. And it was early days for Chick-fil-A. It was early days, and it just didn't have any name recognition. And the poor man was probably eating a lot of chicken and starving to death. And I was single, and I had one thing on my mind, and that was making that store a success. And it took 5 years for it to have consistent profit checks every month. 5 years. But Chick-fil-A pays you a little bit of a salary, so you don't have to eat chicken all the time, but you can pay your rent. And then in those days, if you had if you were not profitable at the end of the year, they would forgive your debt, and they would just start over again in January. And so it made it real easy just to keep going, and just keep trying to sell chicken any way we could. And so we were there. I was there 13 years, and then we did quite well over time. And then they decided to build a freestanding store in Lufkin, which was built in 1999, where we are today. And so then they gave me the option of keeping that store or having 2 stores. And I said, no, I don't want that store anymore. That mall's going to die when the new store comes. And it did. But it was a good training ground for new operators to get in there and cut their teeth and learn the business. Sure. And we've had 3 or 4 of those come through, and it's been a real pleasure to work with them. And so anyway, here we are 26 years later, and we've sold a few chickens in that time.
Let me tell you, there is nothing better than the memories I have of growing up, because my dad thought that every Christmas Eve that we had to come to the mall Chick-fil-A and have lunch so that he could sit in the middle of the mall and he could tell all of his patients Merry Christmas.
Oh, I
and
love
then
that.
we would go down and have our picture made with Santa. And so there's, from the time that I was born until the time that Santa stopped coming to the mall, my family, whether my dad was alive or gone at that point, has had our picture made with Santa. And God forbid Christmas Eve fall on a Sunday when Chick-fil-A is closed. Because it was like, well, what are we going to do for lunch?
Yeah.
Because
That's
we
incredible.
have to eat lunch at Chick-fil-A on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I mean, so all of my life growing up, we had Chick-fil-A for lunch on Christmas Eve so that he could tell everybody Merry Christmas. So I have so many wonderful memories of that sweet little lady that would stand there with that tray of nuggets to give you a sample.
Yes.
What was her name?
Well, her name was Rachel Holland.
Okay.
I hired her when she was in her early 80s.
Okay.
She had retired out of Bell's.
Yes,
She was a
that's
sales
right.
lady at Bell's for many, many, many years. Top sales lady, proud of it too. And she worked at the mall. When we moved over to the freestander, there really wasn't a spot for her to do that. So she stayed at the mall, and she worked well into her 90s.
I mean, I just have this vision of her standing there with that little tray
Yeah.
saying, would you like a sample?
Yeah, and she became family to us, absolutely. And but don't try to touch that plate. She would not let the children touch that plate.
That's funny. No, you just got your little toothpick.
Yes,
She said-
yes. She had some strict rules about how everybody was to act.
Really, what a wonderful testimony and story to not only a fantastic organization, but to you and your history with them. That's just such a great story.
Well, I just kind of love what I do, and
You could tell.
I'm a little bit addicted to it, and every now and then you have to take time off, but I just want to be the best we can be and give Chick-fil-A the name that Truett Cathy, our founder, had worked so hard to grow, his brand and his name, and try to follow in his footsteps. Really, he's just kind of our guide, and being part of the community and giving young kids a safe place to work where they could learn the basics of business and the basics of,
Also taught them manners.
well, and we generally, manners, if you don't already have good manners, you're not going
You're not gonna get hired.
to, you can't force, on some of these people, you just can't force the manners.
Right.
And we've tried. Believe me, we've tried. But yeah, we try to hire the very best. We may interview 100 people and hire one, or we may not hire any of them. So we're very selective, and we try to get the very best we can out of Lufkin.
Well, you have good kids there.
So we're going to talk about in a second the support that you've provided to the community. But so before this podcast started recording, Julie and I met. We bumped into each other at chamber things and things like that. But what you may not remember, or you may, is when you were operating that Chick-fil-A in the mall, right next to Chick-fil-A, there used to be a Radio Shack.
Yes.
Do you remember the Radio Shack?
Yes, I do.
That was my dad's first job. I was working at that Radio Shack.
Okay.
And it was right when I was born. And so most of my early childhood was spent in that Radio Shack. I used to, when they would close the store, I used to climb the metal grate like it was a ladder outside. And he had become a manager at that point. And I probably would not be here today if it were not for some chicken sandwiches that you made sure found me in the evenings. You were just always so kind to us, to my dad, and I remember that vividly. It was.
Now, what's your dad's name?
Brady Pollino is my dad's name. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
And we were there right next to you, and so I almost grew up in that Chick-fil-A.
Well, we gave away a lot of food.
You did.
In those days. We were just trying to get chicken into everybody's mouth, and every product we sold, we'd go give it to the mall employees, give it to the shopping people, whatever. And that's how we grew our business.
You did, and it worked.
That's a great
and
story.
and I've always remembered that, and my dad has always remembered that. So that wasn't the first time we'd met here earlier. We had definitely met many years before,
Well,
but
that's amazing.
But that was just a testament to what we'll talk about next, like how involved you are with the community, and the support that you give is phenomenal. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, beyond keeping probably annoying little kids fed at the mall while they climb on your grates?
Well, we were involved in, we've done some things for many, many years. One of the things that we started well over 25, 30 years ago was the people may not know about is some point back then, they passed these laws that said schools had to offer character programs in their schools, or they had to either buy a program, build their own, or whatever. And Chick-fil-A got into that somehow, and our founder's son, Dan Cathy, he kind of spearheaded getting this program made, I believe. It's called Core Essentials. And the way it works is every month during the school year, they would focus on a certain character trait like honesty, integrity, friendliness, whatever,
Sure.
And just they have a list every year, and it kind of rotates every year. And they would have activities, books, bulletin boards, whatever. I mean, it was a whole thing to help support teachers, and give them something concrete to work off of. And the way it worked was when we would we basically gifted the program to all the schools. We've never made the schools pay for the program. And we're in 18 schools at this time. And whenever a teacher, if the character trait of the month was honesty, if they found a kid being honest in some way, their reward was a free coupon for a Chick-fil-A kids meal. And so anyway, we sampled that program with Miss Casper when she was still principal at Bercalo, Mary Virginia Casper. And we let her test it out, and she really liked the program, so we took it all the way to the whole town and outlying, Hudson Central, Diboll, Huntington, whatnot. And so we've just been doing it every year, and I don't even know what year it started, but I know we were still in the mall. And so that makes it at least 25, 26, 27 years old that we've been doing that.
That's amazing.
I love it.
And it's been a lot of fun. At certain times we did things like when people turned in their coupons, we'd draw their name out for a bicycle. We did that for several years. But eventually it got more than I could handle. So and then when all the coupons went digital, that's when we kind of fell off of that. But anyway, and we've done that. We sponsor the Leadership Tomorrow class. We've done that for a multitude of years. I don't even know how many. We also have something called the Chick-fil-A Leader Academy that is a program where they have little, I guess you call it a little leadership club or something at the school. We've done it in Lufkin for several years, but they've not done it lately. But right now we're in Piney Woods and Diboll, and they meet and they have projects and just talk about how to be leaders in the community. They'll have a big project that they do to raise money for something. I think Piney Woods is raising money right now for the animal shelter. One of them, I'm not sure which one, but anyway, they get leadership, real leadership. They're spreading their wings and doing things. They're not just talking about it; they're doing it. So that's pretty cool that we have that to offer. And we've been a supporter of the Salvation Army for many years. We've in the past last year we started doing the program called Shared Table, where we give our leftovers at Chick-fil-A to the Salvation Army, and they repurpose that food in their meal program. We've also been doing a soup promotion since 2005, and we've added up all the soup we've given them. So whenever you buy a bowl of soup, we give a bowl of soup to them, and we take all those numbers, we add them up, figure out how many cases of soup that is on a yearly basis. Since 2005, we've given 15.5 tons of soup to the Salvation Army. And that's been a lot of fun. And it helps grow our soup sales and tell people about soup and helps the Salvation Army. So that's all good. Let's see what else we've got. We have the Chick-fil-A scholarships we offer. That program has changed over the years. In the olden days, it was everybody got $1,000, and then after a while, that kind of lost relevance to people. They didn't think it was worth working 2 years to get $1,000. And they've changed the program now to where you can get a $1,000 scholarship or a $2,500 scholarship, but now they're competitive. And used to, it was kind of an automatic thing. Now it's competitive scholarship throughout all of Chick-fil-A. We have over 3,000 stores now. So since we've been doing scholarships in 1986, the year I came, we've given about $96,000 worth of scholarships out of my store. So that's exciting, and we're trying to hit that $100,000 mark, maybe next year.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
But when I was growing up, I did get the Chick-fil-A scholarship at Chick-fil-A when I was a kid, and that was the only scholarship I got. I was a good student, but in those days, scholarships weren't what they are today. Weren't so necessary for most kids to even be able to afford to go to school. Right. So anyway. That was that. And what else we got here? I made a little list. Oh, and right now, along with the other Chick-fil-A on the West Loop, on the West Loop, we're working on a partnership that we're going to have for this coming up year that with the East Texas Food Bank. We're doing something together to kind of try to help them out, make a big splash there. Nice. Can't say all the details now, but it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. And, there's just a million things we do. People need coupons, or they need free food, for a tray for the referee room at the tournament, or, we try not to tell people no. And so we give them something every chance we can, because we realize that, they're supporting us, we got to support them. It's just the way it works.
I think you're probably the most giving person I've ever known in my life.
They pretty much took the phone away from me, and because I can't say no to anybody, so they have taken the phone away from me, and they'll screen everybody for me and make sure that it's all good. So anyway.
I don't think the community can thank you enough, Julie, for all that you do for businesses, for kids, just for us as a whole. I mean, you have always been there. We've got amazing personal stories with you, and we're just two people. I mean, just think about all that, thousands of people that you have impacted and changed lives.
Well, our whole goal was just to give fast food a new name, and just be a part of the community, and not just be there in name only. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just really want to get our fingers into everything. And so that's what we've tried to do.
I love when we travel and, we'll stop at a Chick-fil-A. I know my kid she doesn't eat fast food, but she eats Chick-fil-A or wait in it. And we'll stop and she'll go, "This is not Miss Julie's Chick-fil-A." I'm like, "No, baby, it's not.
We say the same
It's
thing.
not." Because, you'll take like forever going around. She's like, "Miss Julie doesn't have this one." I'm like, "Nope."
I'd love to talk about that. So you won large business of the year. So how many employees do you currently have?
Well, we have about 80 or so.
That's
It
incredible.
kind of
to me.
fluctuates.
Yeah, that's
We should really have about 100, but we have 80. And we've been trying to get 100 employees for several years now, and we have never made it. But
you've got to. If there was a number for like the number of employees per square foot of a business that actually work in the business,
Yeah.
you would be far and above every. I can't imagine anyone else.
well,
doing
it takes over 20 people just to run a regular shift.
That's incredible to me. And you do it so well. So when COVID was happening, we were creating video content for the vaccine drives, and they were trying to figure out how to organize it. And I joked, I said, "Somebody just needs to call Julie." I was like, "Just let her do it." I was like, "She'll have everybody through here in no
Well, I tell you, I hate a line. I hate being in a line.
Oh,
If I can't control the line, I don't want to be in it.
I love when you're outside, like moving people
I know it,
through, and
I know it.
she's like, "You need to scoot up some more, and you go into this lane." And I'm like, "Julie's got it handled."
I love that.
I just have compassion for people in lines, and I don't want people to have to wait any longer than they should have to. And I also like to make our line appear shorter than it is, and that's by moving those cards around, and that they can't see that there's a whole empty line over there.
What's great is though that you have such a reputation for that when I drive by, there can be 20 cars in the line, and I'm still going to get in line because I know it's not going to actually
not gonna
take that long, right? If there were 20 cars in other restaurants, I'm like, nope, we'll go somewhere else. That's going to take forever. But
Well,
get
people
through
have to trust the line.
Yeah.
And there are times that we fumble the ball, and there might be a wait, but hopefully it's not the day you really don't need a wait.
Well,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, we just need you to run for president. I fall for Julie for president.
please get stuff done. It's great and have
Diplomatic, kind, and it's all good.
Well, I don't think I'd really want to be president, but it'd be. I'm not that good. It's the people under me that make it all go. I have the desire to make it good, but they have all the good ideas on how to make it flow. So
You do have a great team.
yeah.
do.
You do.
I mean, the day they shut our stores down for COVID, my first in command, Stephen, called me. He's like, "Okay, I've got a plan for 3 lanes in the drive-through." Thank God.
Awesome.
I think that's a great idea. You go do it, and they did it, and we made it work.
Absolutely.
But I guess I started hanging out in the drive-through really during COVID because our dining room was closed for a year, and we love our customers,
Yeah.
and we love to go out and sit and talk to our customers, and they're like part of our family, and I just missed being with the customers, and so my thought was, well, I'll just go out there and smile at them and wave to them when we drive by. At least they'll see somebody, and we'll see them, and it was just I craved being with the people,
Yeah.
And so that's what started all that. And that third line that we created caused a lot of drama. And some of our technology, we had a lot of trouble getting our technology all to where everything was going good with getting people in the right order of line and everything. So we had some strife with that. But being out there helped a lot because a lot of people couldn't always play well together when it came to merging that third car in,
That's tough.
Yeah.
We had some hot moments out there, a time or two.
I believe it.
Everybody wants their chicken.
Yes. They're
What
hangry.
is your favorite thing to eat on the menu?
Oh.
And do you still eat it? Like, are you just burnt out on the?
Well, I always loved Chick-fil-A, but there are times that I miss eating other foods.
Yeah.
And that's a thing. But right now I'm into the grilled products. I'm eating grilled nuggets and grilled fillets. I've kind of steered away over, in my old age, I've kind of learned that I need to eat less gluten and stuff, so I'm not eating a lot of fried products in the breading and everything. But
I love those little, I love the container that the grilled nuggets come in.
Yeah.
Because I'll take a thing of sauce and dump it in there and be pulling back on
stir it all up. Yeah.
And I could eat it while driving. It's easy to eat
Yes.
while driving.
Yes. And so, we're trying to sell more of those grilled products because they're not on everybody's radar,
Yeah.
So it's a good alternative, low calorie, whatever, for all that it's worth there.
Well, everything at Chick-fil-A South Loop Crossing is fantastic. And we just appreciate you so much for what you do.
Well, we appreciate our customers and the ones that just keep coming back. I mean, you know, day after day, year after year. Some people eat with us twice a day. And, you know, the employees get to know their names. They know their orders. They're fairly regular people. And we had customers that come on every Wednesday, you know, and because they come on church night, you know.
Yeah.
And if they don't come, it's not Wednesday, you know. So anyway, it's just, I don't know. I kind of live my life through that store. I just enjoy being there. It's home to me, you know. But when I go home, I want to just be home and shut the world away. Then
Be away from people.
I really don't. Yeah, not a lot going on. I just go home and veg.
Well, I understand
get it.
that very much.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. It was awesome to get to
Thank
talk
you. It's
to
been a pleasure to come here and do this. I've never been on a podcast before,
Welcome to your first podcast.
I hope we do well.
You did great. You did great.
I can imagine this one will do very well. I think a lot of people want to hear your story. Well, thank you so much again, and I appreciate having you on. We want to thank you again for listening to the podcast this week. Definitely share this episode. Really cool story. These are the type of stories that we try to tell every week about our community and leaders and businesses and different things happening around East Texas. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.